I don't know if you will.
I don't know if I will either. Ladies and gentlemen, October 17th, 2024, Canoga Park, California, at the 2LaneLIVE HQ. Welcome back to the channel. This episode is brought to you by Eagle Rider Motorcycles and Tours. Don't forget, check out 2LaneLIVE.com under the Eagle Rider tab to see how you can book a trip, save some money, have a good time while you're at it. Boys, who do we got today?
Well, it's kind of amazing, right? I mean, this is Michael Irby, and we're trying to get the whole Mayans cast in the studio at some point this year, right?
Right.
I think we can probably work that out.
Yeah. Everyone.
Yeah.
Well, the
Grips.
cool thing is
grip. Oh no.
everyone.
We can get everybody, brother. I know some people.
Okay. All right. We're in.
But you are busy. You remind me of Robert Patrick with your schedule of what you've done in the past several years. I'm blown away. So it's going to be fun to get into that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this last week. And, we had an incredible drop last week with Yoke and Zeitz, and then we dropped into Jaime Puerta talking about the fentanyl use. This week we dropped the first day of Durango, headed to the rally. So we hope you check that out. It's a great drop. We have the wives with us. We actually stayed where?
We stayed at the Grand Canyon Hotel, the oldest standing hotel that is a working hotel. And Josh got to stay in the haunted room 13. So go back and check it out. If you don't check it out, I don't know if I can be your friend.
So I was doing a little research.
friend?
I don't think so. I was doing a little bit of research. Obviously, people in the motorcycle world maybe know you most for your role in the Mayans, but I saw quite a laundry list of a ton of other things. So what else are you known for?
I'm known for a show called The Unit.
Okay.
SEAL Team, Barry.
Good team too.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
the first 2 seasons of SEAL Team. Short story on that. It was great to get back in there and put on the CAC, fight for the beautiful US of A. And I told them, I said, "You guys, I got this very nice meeting coming up."
Yeah.
I said, "I think I'm going to be testing for it," and they're like, "Oh, good luck, bud." And I was like, "Oh,
Like to get the show.
oh, really?" I was like, "Good luck, bud." Okay, watch this, right? Like a challenge. And so I went in and I met with Elgin and Roberto and Kurt and everybody. And I had to go back. I said, "You guys got to kill me off."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?" And I said, "I told you I had this very big meeting coming up." And so they had to kill me off. It was an honorable death. It was a beautiful death, and the whole scene's like the episode after the initial. But yeah, I've been rock and rolling for a little bit.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure, guys.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
We I don't know, we live in this great town, and it's fate and things happen for us personally as our channel and business grows. And to have someone like you that's been around and acting and the passion of your acting for so long, like, let's kind of get into the pre-story. So, like, you weren't really wanting to be an actor initially. Your passion was soccer, football,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you were that athlete, Palm Springs, and just So talk a little bit about where you thought your life was going to be, and then the change that sent you to a different direction.
Yeah, I grew up down in Palm Springs, and I was getting after it. My father was black, my mother's Mexican. Not was, they're both still with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be in the past tense, but growing up in the desert, I couldn't really find my tribe, right? And I feel like we're all kind of looking for a tribe, right? And I couldn't really, I wasn't this enough, I wasn't that enough, and I ended up just like falling in love with the beautiful game. And soccer was kind of like my thing that got me out of reality.
Right.
And I got pretty good at it.
Right.
I went to Europe and I was playing over there for a couple months with like the Teams USA and stuff. And I kind of thought that was my path.
Was this like junior, or was it like
senior year?
Senior year.
Yeah. When I graduated high school.
Wow.
And, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I got to be honest.
Right.
I thought it was soccer. And that's what everybody had wanted from me since I was 8 years old, because I was putting goals in the net, and I was good.
Yeah.
And everyone's, Irby's going to play ball. He's going to play soccer. And, you start to believe what everybody tells you. Right? And when I got back, I got in a car accident, and it just kind of, it made me pivot. It made me make that hard right, And I took a couple acting classes, and one person was like, yeah. Another person was like, hey, buddy, you're an actor. And I didn't really know what that meant, you know.
Right.
And once he kind of said that, his name is John Persaka from Orange Cove City College. And he just said, man, let me get you some information. And I ended up moving to New York for 4 months, $500, backpack, head full of dreams.
No way.
And, you know, when I got to New York, I just kept following the yeses. And, you know, life is an improv, I like to believe, and you got to kind of keep moving and following the clouds and the signs and just go with it, you know, just jump into the flow.
So as a young guy, you probably had a lot of charisma and that energy.
You know, I didn't quite realize that. You know what I mean? I didn't. I didn't know I had charisma and energy. I was a soccer player.
Right.
You know, give me the ball. And I mean, that's really, it's all it was about. I never felt like I was that guy. But then once I started kind of have more confidence and more self-belief and more, you know, more understanding of what I was and who I was and what I was being, I realized I had a little something. And I took that to NYC, and they said, hey, you got a little something. And yeah, you know, I got an agent, and I just started kind of working.
Your dad was your coach, right?
My dad was my coach.
Did you play soccer?
My dad did not play soccer.
Really?
No, he's a black man growing up in Chickasha, Oklahoma. You know what I mean? That wasn't happening. You know?
Became coach.
He became a coach because I think he just loved. You know, my father was so smart. He was just such an interesting, you know, to navigate this world as a black man in the 70s, right? You got to kind of, I watched my father kind of like, you know, see the world and make it his own. And I think I kind of took on some of that energy. You know, we used to go out in the garden together, and we used to spend a lot of time talking about the game and playing soccer. And I played soccer, I think, because of how much I loved my dad, right?
That's awesome.
I just wanted to show him that he was, you know, making and doing making the right choices.
And to your point, I mean, you're in a biracial, they are.
Yeah.
And you're the offspring of that. And in the 70s was,
oh yeah,
that was different.
Oh no, we were
yeah.
You know, I have a couple chips on my shoulders.
Right.
I don't know if you can see them. But yeah, I got a couple chips on my shoulders, but I believe it made me the man that I am.
So
you know?
Go back to kind of that, you were navigating through New York. Like you'd go to a yes, and then it was like, okay, I know I can survive. I can do, then I'm going to get into school there.
Well, no, I went to acting school. I knew I was going to
immediately.
go to acting school.
Yeah.
I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And, you know, I was out there, and I just, as soon as I got to school, you know, we started to do the work. You know, I was always a guy that kind of wanted to know how to do it. Right. I kind of wanted to know how to do it. And I went to school, and you know, it was like a 3-year program. They had 160 kids in the beginning. Then it cut down to 50. Then they cut down to like 18. And I went all the way through company, and I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And a friend called me, say, hey, I'm working at this place. And it was an agent. I went in. I was doing spoken word at the time. So I went in, I dropped her some words. And I was very, now it would be very personal.
Right.
You know what I mean? But back then, there was no phones. There was no, you know, there was none of that stuff. You could just speak from your mind, your heart. I was just preaching the word,
right.
You know. And I got a movie called Piñero, you know, big movie at the time. It was Benjamin Bratt and Talisa Soto and a few other people, and it was a movie about the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, and that's where I was doing my slam poetry. And it was just all these gods. I felt like there was always this magic that was happening, that was allowing me to be where I was when I was there.
Wow. So that's 97?
90. I went to school in 93. I graduated in 96. I think I got Piñero in like 97, 98. Yeah. But my very first job ever, guiding light.
Oh no!
And I was the like, dude. I didn't know. I thought. No. I thought on a soap opera, like, I mean, you know, I didn't know, you know.
What
and
doctor
like,
were you?
We need a Puerto Rican bad boy, and you know, being mixed, and then going to New York, I found that I was like Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, you know, like because you get to New York and you're just like, you know, and like I was always a fish out of water in California. And then when I got to New York, I really felt like I started sweating.
Really?
It was amazing. When I got to New York, I really felt like I was at home. But
Guiding Light.
Yeah. Guiding Light. Yeah. Roy Meacham. I was a bad boy. And
Do you remember a line from Roy Meacham?
Roy Meacham?
I'm not putting you on the spot.
I kind of had this whole thing with this deaf Amish girl, and I was like, "Can you hear me?" Like it was wrong. It was wrong at the time. Like it was totally wrong. But I was standing on the corner of Central Park, and I was up and home, and I was walking my dog, and this woman, she pulled up to the red light, and I looked up, and we made eye contact, and she's like, "Roy Meacham." She's like, "You're a bad man." And I was like, "Oh my God." Like that was my first ever being recognized for what I was doing. And I'm a bad man. And hence, 20 years later, I'm still playing bad men.
I love it.
I don't know what it is. I like to tell people I'm a sweetheart,
But you think about that too, like just like with athletics and sports. I mean, there's not longevity. You're a professional football player. It's like 3.5 years.
Oh yeah.
Basketball, maybe 4 years or something, but it's not. And you've lasted 20 plus years in this kind of challenging pot of many actors.
For sure.
You've got to be proud of that and the roles that you played.
And I'm proud of it. I'm absolutely grateful. It was just a bit of a God pivot, And I could have taken that and taken 4 steps back.
Right.
But I kind of am a mind over matter type of human being. And you can't really dictate nor choose what happens to you. You can only deal with how you deal with that and make the choices from that moment forward, And the accident was a blessing, man. It was, I really felt like there was like a moment in my life because I was on a dark, hard road.
Fate.
Dude,
we always talk about fate with us, with what we've been doing, but you put the energy and you put the effort, and fate happens.
But talk a little bit about the dark, hard road.
Yeah.
The dark, hard road. I mean, when you think you're supposed to be going down one way, something in life, and God's, the world tells you absolutely that's not going to happen right now. I mean, I'm not shy. I got down a little bit. And I've seen some things. I've touched some things. I know how things work, and I believe that was all in order to put me where I'm at.
Sure.
Right? Like I started to watch people. I started to become more of an observer and started to see how human beings kind of operate,
right.
With
not always so good.
Man, we're sad. We're sad. And we're all just, as men, we're told to fucking, suck it up. I don't want to see any tears, or I don't want to see any, and as men, we get a little quiet and we get a little introspective, and that can lead to depression and all different types of things. Right. But as long as you stay present and you stay available, right, and vulnerable, I became very vulnerable. Right. I was not vulnerable on the soccer field. I didn't know what that meant. Right. I was going to make you feel vulnerable. Right. That was how I played ball. Like I was going to make you doubt yourself and you doubt your choices. That was how I enforced my will on people. And then I kind of had to step back and start to watch the way that, and also kind of have a little bit of a mirror on myself about what it was that I wanted and about what I believed I could do,
So was there some comedy in your background?
I think I came, it wasn't really comedy, but I came from a background that, my parents loved to laugh.
Yeah.
There was a lot of laughter in our house. I didn't come from a very traumatic or battered, you know what I mean? Like I came out like, there's being born on third monetarily, and then there's being born on third spiritually. Right. I believe I was born on third spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
I saw what my parents had to deal with and work through to become the successes that they are, and to create the lifestyle that we had. Right. I didn't need anything. Right. We got everything. Did you maybe have to work 16 hours instead of 8? Yes. But I got that. I understood what that was. I knew what hard work was. I knew what it was to kind of, bet on yourself. Right. Because my parents were housekeepers in the desert. My father washed windows and my mom cleaned houses. But I always thought it was amazing because like my dad he washed windows. Right. But there's such an esoteric thing about that when you're looking out at $1 million property. If you have dirty windows, do you see it? Right. Like, and he would wash windows, and all of a sudden the life and everything. I mean, it was amazing, man. Like, I love my parents. I love the choices that they made. I have 2 brothers, one older, one younger. And, you know, we're all just kind of, we're living our life, you know, you know, the victim mentality and woe is me. And, I don't deal with that. I don't deal with that. I saw my parents, they didn't deal with that. They persevered, you know, they took it on, face on, and, you know, they crushed it.
But it sounds like to me, from you becoming this machismo to vulnerability, shapes you as an actor, because you can tap into different things.
I do.
You can step back and go, man, that was deep. That was that road I was on. Or, God, this was that foot into that ball and I put it in the net. Yeah. You know, it's like, so you've got a range.
Brother, it all relates. Yeah. I mean, the machismo thing, you know, like when I was growing up, as much as it was to be Latino in America at that time, my parents were trying to assimilate. Right. They were trying to become a part of it. My mother was always like, you're not going to be one of those Mexicans. I didn't really know what that meant. Right. But I don't have any, the way that, I don't know, like I didn't learn Spanish, you know, I've got no gang relations. I've got no prison time. You know, Bishop was a character that I had to kind of take these little aspects of me and act. Right. Which was the most beautiful job in the world. And it created me being here with you guys today.
Right.
You know, I mean, I can't say that nobody knew me, right? Like, people watch shows, they know I've had a very long career, but the Mayans was legit. And it was literally everything that my mother said that you are not allowed to be. I mean, I'm a 1%er dealing drugs, doing this and that, and this and that, and I'm being paid for it, you know, but I know what
legally.
it is. Legally. But you know, allegedly, that is a word that we, yes, allegedly. But, you know, man, I have a couple chips on my shoulder. When I read the breakdowns, I saw that Bishop didn't like to lose and that he was a man of men. And, you know, I connected to the breakdowns and I kind of knew what they were asking for when I read it. And I thought that it was something I could do. Yeah.
You did it well.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. It wasn't easy. You know, it wasn't easy. I mean, there were
no pun intended with easy.
Easy. I love that
Easy,
kid. Damn, easy. Man. That, you know, backstabber. And then all the way back to the, you're not the only one that reads Shakespeare. You know what I mean?
Frankie was.
Yeah. We got full circle on that.
Frankie was
you
talking about that.
You got to be careful who you trust. You know what I mean? You got to be careful who you trust. Yeah.
So I heard, the way that character ended, you were not happy with the way they treated Bishop, or?
You know, I mean, it's because
it was a personal for you
bro, it was personal for me from day one.
Yeah.
The minute 100%. I took the role, it was personal, right? The minute I took the role, it was personal. I think in the very first pilot, right, we got overtaken by the Samoans. And I was like, why are we going here? Like, why are we starting here? Right. But you saw this growth of Bishop. And season 3, when we rode up to the bridge, and I was like, listen, if you guys think you can do this without us, let me see you fucking try it. And that was like a real pivotal scene for Bishop.
I remember that scene.
And, you know, listen, I know what's going to happen. It's you know, it's a TV show. But I believe I went down fighting.
Yeah.
I think that was going to be Bishop all the way to the end. You know, I love everybody on the show. I'm not really talking bad about the show. No, I wasn't happy about it. But I believe that Bishop was really the only one that didn't really have an ulterior motive. Bishop was only
all about the club.
Only and ever all about the club.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone had their little things. And some of those things are just. Right. But when you don't have anything to live for, and this is all that you're living for, I think that Bishop, you know, listen, the last season, it was, you know, it was here and it was there and there was all this different stuff. But like, I think you always saw Bishop's eyes, right? Like when he heard things, Bishop heard things. And I like to let the audience see that Bishop heard that.
Right.
Right. And I don't ever want to give up too much, but I knew the ending. I knew what was going to happen.
Right.
back to that, I think I was upset because as a soccer player, as an athlete, you want to know that maybe we're in here to maybe win 6th season or 7th season. So I knew I knew the show was going to be ending when the day we started season 5, and that was hard for me to process. Right, as a human being, like I want to know that we are fighting for a 6th season or a 7th season or just some longevity. And when I knew that was off the table, I was like, now you guys have the beast. Right. Because there's nothing to win. There's nothing to lose. Right. Now you have the beast. And, listen, I wasn't an angel. I wasn't an angel for that last season. And I am absolutely unapologetic. I think I went out swinging. I didn't want the show to end. I thought we had more rubber to the road on that. I really thought we could have kept riding. But the powers that be said, this is the end of the show. So I said, I'm going to go down swinging. And, when Elgin told me that he said, listen, I'm going to break you down. I said, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to see a man broken and then him, bring it all back. I think that's kind of what makes men. We see the adversity, it's not just the wins and the victories. I think what makes men is their losses and their learning moments. And we saw Bishop always kind of scrambling, trying to keep it all together, whether it was with the boys or the cartel or the ladies, you know what I mean? He was just trying to keep it all together.
But it's funny because Frankie was talking about the same, like it was not only acting, and there was life in that last scene where you guys were, maybe even shed a tear or whatever, just like Absolutely. It was such a, because it's when you work with people, whether you have disagreements or when you're with a group of people for as long as you are, including the staff around and
all of it,
it's when you have a run, it's like that's tough because it's family.
It's family, man. And I felt like, for the fans, you step outside of it. I knew Bishop wasn't going to be liked.
Right.
I knew it. I was killing.
But he was like
those that were that I want to be in the battle with and go shoulder to shoulder and back to back with. Those people let me know that I was the one king, right? And I was only trying to do this for the club. And when I found out that Easy was dirty, that just had to be done.
Right.
As an actor, as Michael, I felt like I was killing the lead of the show.
Right.
Right. That's not fun.
No.
Right.
That wasn't a great day to know that, did I get the throne back? Do I sit at the, do I sit with the crown for 2 minutes and say, now back to business? And then the DEA rolls in? Yes.
Right.
But as an actor, you're saying, wow, like I'm the rock that is starting the ripple.
Right.
Right. Like I'm the rock here. And it was, as much as it was fun, it's not. Right. I knew I was killing this and the brotherhood, and then with Angel and telling him, you do the first, it was all very like, I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
Right. But I had to be that guy. I had to be that guy. Was it fun? No. But was it for Michael as an actor and as a creative? It was a special moment. Yeah.
So riding. Some guys rode, some guys didn't ride.
Yes.
They had stunt people, obviously.
They did.
Certain scenes.
They did.
What was that like? You learned how to ride on the show.
I learned how to ride for the show. My very first contact with motorcycles, I was about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8, heading to like the 2nd grade, going down Kauai, and I was going down to the elementary school. My dad had the green light, and he made the left, and a motorcycle shot through and hit our broadside, flew over the thing, and I was like, blood, the thing, all of it. And I was like, wow, that's my intro to motorcycles, right? That is my intro to motorcycles, 8 years old. And I said, well, I don't really need to ride motorcycles. So I had a whole life, 25, 35, 40 years, never riding a motorcycle. Came in my life maybe once or twice. Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, not for me. And so I go to the meeting and I meet these guys and I'm like, rah, I am Bishop. There's only one man that's going to play Bishop. And my manager calls me and she says, Irby, they love you. And I'm like, and? She says, you have motorcycle lessons tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. I said, I got it. I got it. And the motorcycle to me was just like another lesson, another test, another challenge that was being placed in front of me. And I learned in 2 days. I did the cones. I went out to the DMV, got my M1, went out to set, and I go out to the set, and they're like, "Here's your bike." And I said, "It's a lot bigger than the bike. That's a lot bigger than the bike I learned on." And I said, "Okay." And they said, "Why don't you hop on?" And I knew it was just another test, man.
Yeah.
And as an athlete, as a actor, as a human being, I'm down for that.
Right.
Right. I'm down for that. I jumped on the bike. We were out on the 5 freeway. I'm going 70 miles an hour. I'd only gone about 25, in the riding course, and I'm going about 75 miles an hour. There's semi trucks. I'm feeling gravel in the face, and I'm going, "What are you doing? What are you doing, Michael?" And we're going. I got the apes, and
you got the
You didn't start on an easy
I
bike.
didn't start on an easy bike. You know what I'm saying? And the breakout, which I learned to love, and they're like, "Oh, if you learn on this, it's going to be," And we rode back to the studio, and I got off the bike, and I'm dripping, and I'm just going, "Wow. That was amazing.
You just did it.
I was alive."
Yeah.
Right. And I know that aspect of the bike. Like every time I get on the bike, bro, I don't take it for granted. It's something I had to go through the check marks. I glove up, dress for the ride, not for the slide, not for the ride. Right. And I think about it. I think about getting on that bike.
Yeah.
It's not second nature to me. Did I make it look like second nature? Yes, because I'm an actor. And
and you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it.
Now you're into it, and you're going, "Oh, okay, that's
I get
hate
it.
the rock,
yeah,
but like
the
bug,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. And some of the aspects of the bike were like, look where you're turning, and that's life, right? Look where you're going.
Yeah,
look where you're going. Right. You can look at all this other stuff, and it's all distractions and everything, but look where you're turning. And like. There was, the bike was, that was just one test, and then having to come in and be the leader of all these guys,
right,
and be the prez and have them respect you and have them, I don't really like to say fear you, but like, listen, I'm not a super big man. Right. And I went into the club going, you don't have to be the biggest, the baddest, the best looking, the youngest, this or that. You just got to be the smartest. You just got to be the guy that they all turn to and say, "Listen, what are we doing?" Right.
Yeah, what's the plan?
We're following you.
What's the plan?
Yeah.
Right. And I joke with my wife. I said, "Listen, I'm a team player, but just know that you're on my fucking team. Okay. You're on my team. I'm the team captain. I'm a team player to a certain degree, but we all are whenever it's my team. Right. And that was the bike was that. Listen, the motorcycles, man, I get it. The wind therapy. I love getting out on the open road. I loved being out there, and the bike thing. And I took it as a point of, pride. I don't really like to bring pride into this. I'm not a very prideful person, but as much as I did the unit, and when people watch me walk into a room and do all of the weapons training, and they go, "Wow, dude, you look like you look like you've been there." I wanted them to know and think that I've been there before.
Was there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't see it on camera too much, but we've got a patch wall here, and you think about you're portraying a motorcycle club, and the motorcycle clubs bring a lot of the former military into the club.
Absolutely.
Because the PTSD and
all of it.
So that, and they know, I can look at you and we both served, and I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You look at me and I haven't served. I don't know what you're thinking.
Right.
And so it brings this brotherhood that they had together. Not every person's a prior military, but there are a number of clubs that have that.
Oh, listen, you have the, you have these rules,
right?
Rules of man, right? Like that doesn't change.
Right.
That will never change. I know in 2024, and it feels like the rules have been pushed or everything has changed a little bit, but the rules of man and the rules of God, the law of God, that will never change. And some of these bylaws are in military training, and then you can see how that they relate and transfer over to the MC culture.
Right.
That was always something too. Bishop had, on the show, Bishop was a vet. So I already knew what that was, right? Like I felt like I already was familiar with that space. And that is, I think that listen, I don't care who you're fighting for. I don't care who you're fighting for, whatever your patch is, whatever the patch is on your back, whatever the patch is on your arm, right? You could be fighting for the president of the United States or the president of the club or the president of the chapter, right? Men are going to do and operate in certain ways.
Yeah.
I believe that, you know, I'm a caveman to a certain degree, you know, and I'm not really part of this new world.
Right.
I think we all kind of feel that way.
I think we all feel that way, brother. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest.
Yes.
You know, the world is changing. I would like to be, you know, I'm on the Walking Dead aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like if it does hit the fan, I believe that you can come to my house and survive for another 12 days than you thought you could get. Right.
I like it. I
Yeah,
like
you know what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I believe that if you put the weight on me as much as Bishop or Michael, the soccer player, Michael, the actor, the husband, the father, I'm willing to do that. Right. I saw my father do it. Right. I believe that kind of history does repeat itself. I've been married for 25 years. My parents were married for 50. Like I'm not
Right.
looking for anything else. I want to put in the work. I want the hard work. I appreciate the hard work.
You talk
know?
about family a lot with your parents.
I do.
So are they still around? You still see
My
them?
parents are still around.
That's
I still
awesome.
see them. They're still
Awesome.
together. They live in the same house I grew up in.
Oh, great.
Down in the desert, like out in the Cabazon area where the dinosaurs are. And, you know, family, I knew I wanted a family, you know. We were blessed with one. Second one, we had a little bit of a hiccup with, and we didn't have another one, you know, but we have one. And that's a family.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
And
like
he's doing great.
he's fantastic, man. He's out in New York City. He is following his dreams and his passion. He's a photographer. He goes to the School of Visual Arts out there. And, you know, I'm just standing back kind of watching. And if I can help him in any way, I'm here. But if he doesn't need it, I can be an observer. And I can follow him and watch him and see where he lands.
Well, and I saw an interview that you did, and this was a year ago, and you're just like, you were gushing with pride.
Bro, it's
You know?
amazing. I mean, I believe it's kind of I've done good things in my life.
Yeah.
But that is one of the really pure things I've done in my life with my wife. We
Right.
did that together, right? A lot of my adventures are solo, right? But we did that together. And as much as she's the rock of us. We all know that. We are not the man. We are not the man that we pretend to be without a significantly better half.
Unless you're a professional actor.
You know, no, man, she makes us who we are. You know, we've traveled to amazing places that, listen, I'm a caveman. Like I said, I'm okay with, you know, not seeing that many things and knowing how to put two sticks together. But she shows us the world, and she has made a better life for us and our son. And it's no, man, I'm so proud of him. And pride is a funny thing. I don't like to say proud because then I think that's something I didn't expect that you could do. Right. I'm just enamored and being able to watch his life and watch him kind of like say, you know what, I got this.
Well, we understand that because we both have sons. We both have daughters. We've both been married a long time. Yeah. Not with each other,
Yeah.
with our own. But
you're a professional actor.
my wife is
Yes.
wife's known his wife for 42 years.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Something
so
like that.
we've known each other for 39.
You guys
38.
born and raised in California?
I was born in Michigan. I came out here at 6 months old.
Okay.
I was born in Hollywood Press, and I left at 1 month old, or maybe newborn, to Utah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I came back 22 years later.
Very nice.
So, but we have that same, our kids are great. We're proud. We have that pride of them. Our wives are rocks. We just have a great thing, and they go on trips with us.
Yeah.
So, and people love it. In fact, we had a comment today saying, I got to tell you guys, I really love it when you bring your wives along on these journeys because they dig seeing it, and then they can get their wife to ride. But we have fun.
Yeah.
So
we've
we've been talking this way, but if you'll see to the right, there's all these comments that are coming in, and then Josh will be throwing those up on the screen.
Yeah. Anything.
Kim, if you're out there, Kim,
Hey,
you
Kim.
cut our hair.
Oh,
You cut
yeah,
both
yeah.
of our hair.
Yeah.
you know?
And Addison's here.
Addison.
Yeah. And my boys here.
There you go. Hi, Kim.
So getting back to you think the longevity of your career and the different, players that you played over the years, and you were more cinema and film at first, and then it became television, like out of the gate. You've done some more film again, and now you're in this place where this is a couple of years ago. This character Barry shows up.
Super
Like,
nice.
listen,
You know,
you go from this hard ass, all these. And when I say machismo, all I mean by that is you're this.
yeah. Oh,
I
brother.
can do it, man. I'm an athlete. I got this.
Yeah. No.
To this vulnerability of different characters, and so
yeah.
what was that shift like?
Well, I got to be honest. I think they just wanted another side of Michael. You know, I got Barry before Mayans.
Right.
Really?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I was on a show called Taken. Right. Great show. Cool. They did it after the movies. And we came back, and I'm thinking I'm getting ready to go back out to Toronto for another year. And I got a call in the 11th hour saying, hey, we're not going to be renewing your character. I said, oh, firing me? They said, well, you know, we're just going to I said, no, you're firing me. Right. And I was on fire at that moment. Right. Like again, like I'm down for the fight, man. Like I'm down for the fight. And when they just told me that I was not coming back,
At the 11th hour.
At the 11th hour, man, it fired me.
No
up.
respect.
No respect, you know, and you're just like, oh, this business,
Right.
you know. And so I'm in Costa Rica because we were already planning. I was getting ready to go to, you know, Canada, and I was just doing a little family time. And it's storming and lightning and thunder and rain. And I'm sitting out there, and I'm on the balcony. My son comes out, and he says, Papa, what's up? I said, did Mom fill you in about what's going on? He said, yeah. And he says, you'll be fine. And I was like, oh,
That was it, huh?
that was it.
Like, all right.
I don't really have a choice.
Right.
Right. He's 14 years old. He needs to believe that I will be fine.
Right.
Right. You don't have a choice at that point. So I came home. My manager calls me. She goes, hey, there's a couple little things going on. First, I came home. I got SEAL Team. Right. Then I got Barry. The same people who casted Barry casted the unit. She says, Irby, will you please come in? We're having a hard time casting this role of Cristobal, this Bolivian drug lord, you know. And I'm like, okay, you know, he's a Sammy Hagar kind of. And I'm like, what? So I go in, and she's like, we want like Midnight Irby. I'm like, Midnight Irby? Oh, I gotcha, right? She wants me to have a cocktail and, you know, bam, 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 you know. And so I did it, and I got it. And Bill was like, this is great. This is hilarious. We're going to work you into the show. And then I got Mayans. I go back for season 2 at Barry, and all of a sudden he started to kind of spread his wings a little bit. He's looking at NoHo like,
right.
maybe you're a romantic, you know, and all of a sudden Cristobal's gay. Right. And he's got this family back in Bolivia, and he's got kids. And we just we took a hard left for the character. And I said, Bill, like, I'm on the Mayans now. I don't know if you're aware of this show.
They're
you
gonna
know,
make fun of me.
like I know everybody's in the business. They're in it hard, and we all don't watch TV. But I'm on this show called The Mayans. I'm playing Alpha Dog, you know, and Catholic, you know, a big Latino following, and you know, I don't know what this is going to bring, and you know, but at the end of the day, I pay my bills, right? And those shows were running, you know, coexisting at the same time. I was doing both shows at the same time. And it was a little schizophrenic. You know, one guy's leather and whiskey and freaking bad decisions, and another guy's 4 agreements and linen and life is beautiful, you know? And I was like, okay, you just got to embrace this.
Both
And
killers, though.
Both killers,
Ooh.
right? Both leaders of men,
Yes.
right? And both movers
Lethal.
and shakers, lethal, right? And you know, either fear you, respect you, it doesn't matter. You know, so they operated in the same space,
Right.
Cristobal,
One was just happier, and one was
a little happier. You know, one saw the sun and everything, and the other one saw the rain and the clouds. But you know, Cristobal was such an amazing departure, and I think at the end of the day, I got to be honest with you, the reason that they coexisted is because as Mayans was ending, right, it was so dark, and they were airing at the same time. And I think Cristobal was kind of like this, like, I don't really know how to put it, but it was more like esoteric and spiritual. I think Cristobal was kind of like this thing to allow me to get out of Bishop. He allowed me to get out of that hating space, right? Like, I mean, Bishop hated himself. He hated everyone around him. You know, if you can't love yourself, it's very hard to love anybody else. And Cristobal was the exact opposite of that. And I think it was just God's putting that in my life.
Now I got to
know?
go watch some Barry stuff.
Oh, bro, you need to. If you haven't seen Barry, dude,
You're
go
done.
watch Barry. It is absolutely.
Because I watched a scene today where you were with the club and you were saying we're going to go do this mission, and I think Angel, JD's brother on the show,
Yeah, Clayton.
and you took him down,
Oh yes.
and like you guys were on the ground. I'm thinking, I mean, it was real. And there was no stunt guys, right?
Yeah,
or was
no stunt guys?
I mean, you guys went for
Oh
it.
no, we went after
pushing, boom, and on the ground. It was like that. You got to be athletic for that kind of stuff.
You got to be athletic. You got to be a mad dog. You know? I mean, Clayton's he's obviously
the dirt underneath was a pad.
There were pads there, and Clayton said, "Bro, would you just stop?" And then I would smack him in the face. Listen, I'm an actor, man. Like you let someone else yell cut. I will not censor myself. Right. I'm gonna go for it all the way. And if the actor's uncomfortable, if the actor's uncomfortable, then he's allowed to be uncomfortable for that moment. But listen, I'm respectful, but I'm gonna go for it, right? Like you want Bishop. When we started to block that scene, Clayton, they said we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna come in. And I said, you know what? I don't think Bishop's even gonna deal with that. I think he's gonna go for the double leg, and I think he's gonna put his hand in your throat and look in your eyes and say, what are we doing here?
And it was intense.
It was intense, and like someone said, well, you think you can lift him up? And like, listen, man, it's just, come on, man. Like if you watch MMA, if you know MMA, if you know UFC, like, I mean, that's
I've faked worse injuries in soccer.
What's that?
I've faked worse injuries in soccer.
Exactly. I have faked worse injuries in soccer. No. Clayton was a sport. He let me smack him 100 times. I think we came back to work the next day and he's like, bro, I'm concussed, and I'm like, hey, it's just the tricks of the trade.
Right.
But I love that they gave you a little bit of liberty to do stuff like that, right?
They did. I mean, yeah,
that's
did.
When you're being a little more creative with your, like, let us just take the scene for a second.
Let us play for a second.
Yeah.
I like to, we do 1 for them, 2 for them, 3 for them. And then at the end of the day, I'll ask, can I just get one more? Just one for me. It might not be entirely different, but it's just for me.
Right.
And the editors will see that and they'll go, ooh, I like that little color of that, because that one wasn't him trying. Listen, as an actor, you can't be right.
Right.
We don't make the right choices all the time. That's kind of it's kind of when we're introduced to our real self, is when we don't make the right choices all the time, and as an actor, you got to have that freedom to say, listen, like nothing's going to make the 9 o'clock show if it's not real and if you don't believe it. So like, go for it sometimes. And you're allowed to make mistakes. All they do is not print that one.
Right.
They just don't print that one. It's okay. Like I watch actors and they just want to like hit their marks and say the lines and be right. There's no being right here. Like you just got to just go for it and do it. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. And I'm a soccer player again. So I like direction. I like saying, hey, listen, I make broad choices. I believe it's easier to come back from a wrong choice than it is to get you further to a choice.
For sure.
Right. So I believe I can always pull you back. So I'll go far. And if the director doesn't like it, I'm willing to communicate that. And we can kind of, figure out what we think is best for the scene. But Bishop was carefree, man. He didn't answer to anyone. And I really think that I was able to bring that to the show and to, the character.
What was a typical day like? 10 hours, 12 hours?
We did 12-hour days. Mondays we'd start at like 5 a.m. because we're trying to get the sunrise. And then by Friday, we're starting at like 3 a.m. because they want to shoot dark for light. And, we have this certain time and we're just going to work. But like, listen, I would be there for 20 hours. Right. I loved Bishop. I loved the show. I love the boys.
For a couple of years as you're working in parallel with Barry and Mayan, how did you come in and out of character for each character?
The 405.
Yeah.
You spend an hour on the 405.
Because you're like, okay, wait a minute. Who am I today?
Yeah. They were both aspects of me.
Right.
They were, and I really appreciated and loved them both. Like, I love you, brother. Like, I'm okay loving another man in that space. Right. I'm okay loving my men as Mayans. Right. Bishop loved,
of course,
his boys.
Yeah.
Right. I loved NoHo. I operate from love. Right. That's kind of how I was raised. Right. There was another thing like, You know, I was taught to love and be loved, and what I learned was hate or be hated. Right? That's another bit of the poetry, right? Because I know what love is. I know that men operate from it, women operate from it. We all operate from it, and we're all better because of it, right? When we start hating and like turning inwards, it just creates where we're at right now.
Right.
You know, it kind of creates where we're at right now. It was a little schizophrenic, but I, you know, when I would drive home from Bishop, it was like 2 a.m, and I had the scowl, and I was just trying to get home, and I was hoping that the family was asleep so that I could pour myself a 3-finger whiskey and just kind of decompress, you know. And when I left from Barry, I'd be at the stop sign. I'd be like, "It's okay, you can go." I was stopping for the pedestrian, the jaywalkers. I was just like, if anybody wanted to get in my lane, I was like, "Please, it's okay. I'll get home when I get home." You know, I was. You know, they both operated from love, man. At the end of the day, yeah.
That's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we get asked, what's your favorite ride? Where's the favorite place you've been? Is there a character that you've played that's been your favorite, or is there one in the future that you think, yeah, I'm going to be that guy at some point? Is there? I mean, what we say to that is it's the next ride,
Brother, I was just going to say
Yeah.
that it's the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, have I had an amazing career? Yes. Do I love Betty Blue from the unit? I
Yeah,
do. You know, do I love Adam Seaver? I do, from the SEAL team, because those were guys that were, you know, it's a sliding door for Michael Irby, right? I was gonna be an operator, a team operator, a leader in any aspect of my life. You know, I was highly recruited when I was in school, back in high school, from military and stuff, but like I just didn't feel like that was my path and that was my journey. And I got nothing but respect and love for all the vets out there, and I've been honored to be a part of that community. But like the Mayans, it's amazing, but I'm not a role model, right? Bishop is not a role model, right? And I'm sorry. I mean, I know you love the character, but the guy's a beast, right? The guy's a monster.
Right.
He destroyed himself and destroyed everything around him in order to get what he wanted, right? Bishop was not a role model. Do I love Bishop? I did, and I do. And I'll take him to the grave because he was a little part of me, you know. It was, but I don't know. I'm kind of with you on that. The best job is the next one.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say, I mean, I really like your work, and I see your passion in your acting. But I got to say, when you told me you were on Castle, and now that I know you were, or The Last Castle?
Yeah, The Last Castle.
The Last Castle.
Yeah.
And now I know your character 100%. I can't get it out of my mind.
Yeah.
Because I've watched the movie 4 or 5 times.
Sure.
Now I'm going to watch it again.
It was a
But
sleeper.
you were a badass in that.
I was a badass.
You were
man.
You were a team player.
Yeah.
You were with the guys, and you made it happen when they needed you.
Yeah, we were just going to overthrow the prison.
Totally.
I mean, that was it. You know,
Yeah.
we just wanted people to see us. You know, and I think at the end of the day, like when you've been playing or when you're raised kind of outside and able to kind of have, like I wasn't in it. I was able to watch it. Right.
You had a lens.
Yeah, I was able to watch it with a lens, and I believe that helped me become the man that I am. You know, no. I loved The Last Castle, and that was just such a huge job. You know, working with Gandolfini, it was huge on The Sopranos at the time.
Yeah.
Redford, obviously a legend. No, I got Jodie Foster in there from Flightplan. I was playing Middle Eastern. You know, with my look, I can go 2/3 of the world. And they speak to me as soon as I get off the plane. They're like, Calispera. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No. I mean, like, literally, man, it's crazy when we travel the world, because we like to travel a lot and we love Europe. And like 2/3 of the world, I can go there and people think that I'm from that land. And it is just bizarre and wild.
My wife has the same thing. People think she's all different. And
Yeah.
she's Hispanic. But talk a little bit about, because you were talking about the unit and that stuff, and you did like a USO tour, or did you? And
Yeah.
I had heard something, and you kind of didn't know why you were there, and then tell that story when you were out in the palace and you figured out why you were there.
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, I used to lean a little left, right? Because that's what I knew. That's just what I knew. And I'm not really. I think the war is the last option.
Right.
Right. I gotta stand on that, on hard ground. I don't think we should be killing each other for oil or money or ideas. I think that we can still sit at a table and have a conversation. Right. The world right now is such a crazy place. So I wasn't really sure why I was going. Right. Michael Irby, I was like, yeah, I'm an actor, guys. Like and then I got there and started talking to the young men and women that had made this huge sacrifice to keep this idea of freedom alive for us here in America. And listen, she's not always pretty. We've got our fast food lines, we've got our diabetes, Ozempic, this, that. We've got all of these things that we've taken freedom, and maybe we have too much leash, right? Maybe we have too much freedom, right? But I love the idea of these young men and women. And I'm talking to this kid. We're out on the lake, we're smoking a cigarette, and we're out at Saddam's castle. And I'm just having conversations with these young men and women. And I realized at that moment that that's the reason why I was there. It wasn't there I needed to learn something, right? It wasn't there to go be Michael Irby, the actor, or Michael Irby this, or some celebrity. It was because I needed to learn something there. And, we all got back from that first little trip, and we all went straight to, the tattoo shop over on Sunset over there. But we all went and got tattoos the minute we landed back from Iraq. Myself, Dennis Haysbert, Max Martini, and Robert Patrick. We went straight and got tattoos. We all got the word freedom, but the different idea of what freedom
I have
means
freedom right here.
Yeah. And it's not always pretty, and it comes at a cost, right? So I think that's really what was big for me, was to kind of really get over there and see what people were living and dying for.
Yeah.
Because I get to play one on TV, but it's not the same.
It's a great story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not the same.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was like, man, he had an epiphany when he's out sitting down outside the palace on a lake, and it's like you're looking around at like this country and what we're doing there, and because I don't think sometimes we do realize the sacrifice that these people either lose or come back with,
bro.
And it's gnarly.
It's easy to sit in our little castles and our little ice houses and get online and be little keyboard warriors and not really have anything in the fight. But until you bleed, until you sweat and cry for your brothers and sisters, like, do you realize, oh, wait, guys, like it's so plush right now. Like, we're so blessed, and like, we don't really put ourselves over there, right? We haven't had a war here on American soil in a couple hundred years, when we kind of realize what that is and take a step back and have some like real periphery on it, do we understand, like, wow, man, like we're blessed, 100%. We're blessed, and we can make this heaven or hell. And it's got to do with a lot of stuff that's happening that we'll never see on the news,
right?
Stuff that we'll never see,
right? That's
so. Professionally, what do you think you're most proud of?
Professionally, I mean, as far as work goes?
Yeah.
I mean, professionally, I got to say, like, I've done it. I'm an actor. Like, I got a mortgage. I've got a kid who's graduating college, and we just paid his last tuition. And I got a wife that still respects and loves me, and we have an amazing relationship, and we're still friends. Like, I think I'm probably most proud of what I've been able to create outside of this business by being in this business, because
that's your personal pride.
Yeah,
it is, but my personal is my professional.
Yeah.
If I wasn't able to do this, and if I gave, I think I was telling you guys earlier, Redford, as I'm doing this movie with him, he comes out and we're sitting on the steps, and I'm 24 years old, having a cigarette, and Robert Redford comes up and asks if I can hang out and sit down and talk to you. And he tells me, you need to make sure that you have something that is more important than this. Right. And that was so clear to me from an early age, because I came from a family. I know what family is. And in order, like, this business, like, I watch so many people who've made the biggest sacrifices. They don't have kids. They didn't get married. They got divorced. They think that the grass is greener. They think there's something out there that they need. it's not, you don't need anything.
Yeah. Well, I
Right.
mean, what I'm learning from this is, and we all have this,
Yeah.
you have a family base.
Yeah.
You grew up with family, and that is what has grounded you.
Yeah.
So the stories you're telling us and the energy that you have and all this stuff, you love doing your acting, your job and everything, but you love life and you like people.
Without question.
Yeah.
If this ended tomorrow, I would say, hey, awesome. Thank
Right.
you so much. But it's much like NFL players. You play 12 years, you retire, nobody even knows you existed. Like, I love this business. I love what it's created and the freedom and the opportunities and some of the different experiences that it's created. But at the end of the day, I would trade it all in if it made me say, you can have this or that. I would always choose that.
But I guess what I hear from it is the vertical, the depth on both sides. You were a soccer player that got in a bad car wreck that changed or pivoted, as you would say, that went to New York with $500.
Yeah.
And you built this $500 into 25 years of acting, or 27 years of acting. So that's something as an actor you have to be super proud of, because you know this industry. I don't know it, but I hear about it, and I know the cutthroat, and I know the challenges, and it's almost like the 1%ers, right?
Listen,
because
I don't know if I'm a 1, but I'm definitely in the 5. You know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you don't get that long of a run unless there's some chops behind it, right?
Brother, yeah, and not without a little adversity,
right?
Not without some challenges and some obstacles and some things I've had to overcome.
But similarly, on the family side,
yeah,
you've got another vertical that you're super proud of,
for sure,
because you've taken a woman that you met in New York, theater of this, I'm struggling with this, all of a sudden it becomes this, and now you've got a child that's about to graduate from college.
Yeah.
That's a killer at photography, and you're just like, I can imagine you sitting out on the back porch going, I can't wait to do what's next, but I'm pretty proud of what we've got going.
I do pinch myself every now and then, but I know there's always work to be done.
Absolutely.
Right. We're never, I mean, when I get to the end, I'll be at the end, but I'm nowhere near there yet. And I'm still knocking it out and still curious. And, still there's things I want to do. And, I kind of am a believer, and you don't really tell anybody really what you want to do until it's done. Right. So I've got my secrets. I don't do a lot of these podcasts because I like my secrets. I like my mystery. Now with social media and the phones and everything, I believe people have too much information. Right. They know way too many things about Michael Irby. And I'm still pretty shy about it. Right. Like I'm not out there posting everything. I mean, like my social is pretty much business or golf. Right. Because those are the things that I'm kind of passionate about. And but yeah, like, listen, man, this business can bring so many trials and tribulations, and I do believe the strong survive in this business. I've had some great success, and I'm super proud of it, but it's not who I am, right? Like, I'm a husband, father, brother, son. The acting thing, I'll tell you that at the very end. Oh, yeah. And I love it when people say, God, you look so familiar. I'll be at the market, or I'll be at some tournament, and someone will be, and I'll be like, oh, well, I don't know. What year did you graduate high school? Or where'd you go to high school? And I like to throw people that way because, the acting thing is really the last thing that I like to identify with. It's pretty much like I'm a shoe man. I'm a garbage man. It's what I do. It's what I do. It's not who I am. It really is how I learn. It's how I earn a living. I'm super proud of it, and I am super grateful for it. But it's really, I mean, it's not who I am. I don't know if that comes off wrong or
no.
But,
but for us, it's been an interesting thing. He talked earlier about how long we've known each other, and then we started this channel 4.5 years ago, and we had no clue what the hell's going to happen and what's going on, and so we have become people's kind of outlet to come and talk about and share their stories about how our writing and our story that telling has impacted their lives, whether it's a first-time writer, father and son getting back to it again, cancer, some sort of other disease. But because we're up on a TV, it's I don't want to call it fame. It's more of a, like, people know us and see us, and they'll tell us things that we don't even know about ourselves. And it's been this influx of shaking hands with America and the storytelling. And we were talking about this, and we've said this a few times at Sturgis a few years ago, like, you're playing a character. So they identify with Bishop.
Yeah.
Our character's us. And they identify with us. And it's like, hey, can we? And it's like,
yeah.
So we've created
it's just
this
very odd, and not that anything's, it's just different, a different side of fame. And so to your point, it's like, yeah, don't I know you? And for us, it's like, oh, I know you, and you did this, and this.
It's bizarre.
Personally, though, not a character.
Yeah.
Well, I was a sign painter. He was a banker. We go, hey, we ride motorcycles. Let's do this thing. And like he says, we could be in an airport or we could be in another town, and people come up to us, go, oh, Galen, Lance, how's it going, Josh? They recognize our wives now.
Yeah.
And it's like, we know you. We feel like we know you. And they kind of know us because we don't get into character.
Right.
We just do us on the road and share it.
Which is the character.
Which is the character.
Right. But
That is a reality. I mean, and nowadays, I mean, that is how people get to know people. Like, I mean, from whether the phones or the YouTube or whatever streaming platform, like it's quite fascinating. Like I'm that way with athletes.
right.
If I see an athlete, it's the one thing I still think that I didn't get to do. So I do get a little fanboy, like I'm like, oh my God, that's wow, and I do get a little like, oh my God, that's that dude. My wife's like, honey, just say hi.
That's to show these
And
characters.
I was at this tournament up in Northern California this weekend, and I'm in line getting some food, and I saw Jerome Bettis, and I was just like, oh dude, the buzz. Right? So I was just like, I went up to him, I said, excuse me. I said, huge fan. And then he looked and he was like, huge fan. Yeah. And it was like, oh wow, this is so amazing, but like no, man, I've been so blessed, and yeah, that's always a weird thing, like when people think that they know you because they're watching you in their living room. It's such an intimate thing, like to watch in your house, and and like when we go to the movies, like when I grew up, there was never a chance of me seeing an actor, and if I did, I would just go, oh wow, that's that guy.
Well, it's interesting for us. I mean, I speak for myself, but you probably agree. When yourself, JD, Frankie Loyal, Robert Patrick, you guys are all so very approachable on the street.
Right.
Robert will talk to anyone.
Oh, anyway, yeah.
It's like you guys aren't. I was at a little thing over a car show in Warner Center, and Frankie was there.
Yeah.
He was just like me, hanging out, talking to people, and I like that. That's down to earth,
At the end of the day, I mean, it's only like, like I said before, it's only an aspect of me.
Yeah.
I would like to believe I'm a man of men.
You are.
My wife always jokes, and she says, you're really crew, right? And I kind of, I'm kind of working man's hero. You know what I mean? That was always something that I kind of held on to, because when I was in New York, I was working at a lighting company. I was doing this, I was doing that. I was just kind of, and then when I got my first job, I told the guy, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. I got a job on guiding light. And, I was kind of that working man's actor guy, and I always took that. Like, I don't.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Like, listen, I can be the star and I can take the light, but I don't need the light. I don't live for the light. You know what I mean? I live to be honest and truthful in these circumstances. And like, even as an actor, like, I don't really like to be Michael Irby. I like to be, I'm a journeyman kind of an actor. I like to kind of put these clothes on and put these shoes on and put this skin on and become that person. So when you do meet Bishop or Cristobal or any of these guys in the street, you're always going to be like, wait, you're not. I'm like, no, Michael.
Well, since we're being, honest with each other here.
Yes.
I was more of a Days of Our Lives.
Hey, I hear that's a great show as well.
Days of Our Lives.
I mean, what was it, Bo and Hope?
Bo and Hope.
Yes, bro. I mean, my mom,
you.
we only, when I grew up, we had the one TV and you had the one channel. So, like when I was home for summer, it was my mom's time for the TV. Bo and Hope, and like, I was a Days of Our Lives.
I would come home for lunch.
Yes.
Or before football practice.
Yes.
And my mother would have it on, and I just, as a 17, 18-year-old, I was like, immersed into the
immersed
thing.
in it.
But if I would have known you were on Guiding Light,
You would have watched it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go even deeper. When I would come home from school, my mom would be watching Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows. I don't even know what that is.
It was one of the first, what are they called? What'd you call it?
Soaps?
Soap opera.
Yeah.
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
It was the biggest soap opera that was on in the 70s, maybe.
Hey, a lot of people came from soaps. I think
Yeah.
Bruce Willis. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people
Oh, yeah.
came from the soap. And listen,
Michael
as an
Irby.
actor, who's that?
Michael
Irby. And as an actor, when you go in the very beginning, they shoot hard and fast, right? They're shooting like 2 episodes, 3 episodes in a day, and you're just going in. It's very much like theater. You go in, you rehearse, you learn the lines, you go back to your dressing room, you come back out, and you're like, I was working a lot at that time, and it was amazing. I was making like, I don't know, $700 a day. I'd never seen that kind of money
Back then. You were like,
then in like
yes.
1990, I think it was like 1997. I'd never seen that kind of money. Like we got an apartment, like I was like, oh, I made it.
He's got a deep career.
Hey,
So how was theater, by the way?
theater felt like soccer, and theater felt like everything was like it was on. The
You were
whistle
on the
blew.
field. You were going.
The whistle blew. We were going to get to the second act. We were going to get halftime. You could look back at the game and know you could kind of hit these other certain marks. But so much of
Because I admire that as more than sometimes what you're doing on stage.
Yeah.
Because there can be a flaw, and there's no cut.
It's the real deal.
Like
it's
right?
the real deal, man. Yeah. It's the real deal. Theater, I think theater for me, it scared me a little bit.
Yeah.
And it actually, like, I don't know, so much of my life I do kind of transferred from soccer into acting and being on a team and being able to look and make eye contact with someone and send the ball and pass the ball and move to an open space and take that line. And like, it was always transitioning. Like soccer was everything to that. And theater was kind of the closest thing, because you start, curtain goes up, curtain goes down, and then you stop, you come out, do the curtain call. Like in film and TV is much different because you have so many chances to screw up. In theater, like it's like it really, it makes
You're on point.
Yeah, it grows a set.
Josh, can you put that last comment up? Because
yes, I can.
And read it.
Let's see. Simon Small, 2LaneLIVE. You're not just shaking hands with America. Your road trips and guests in the studio are inspirational and far-reaching past your shores. Thank you, Simon.
From the UK.
Very cool. Hey, Simon from the UK. What's going on?
And while I'm over here, I'm going to go back and find a little shout out to Chris Lopez. Thank you for the beer money, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
And one more thing while I'm here. You want to get a free hat if you buy one of 3 shirts total, like this one. Wait a second, I'm hiding this guy. Yeah, it's live on the site. Check it out.
Boom.
Cheers, boys. Bishop is a badass.
I keep hearing that. I mean, Michael Irby's a sweetheart, but Bishop is not down for a little. Bishop's down for a little fisticuff.
We could hang out with Michael Irby, have some steak and
what do
beer
you
and this
say?
and that. But Bishop, I don't know.
What about Irby? What is he?
What?
What's he now to us?
He's family.
He's our family now, bro.
Whether you like it or not, you're family.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good, man. Family is not just who you're born into, but the ones that like, come on, man. Like this is America. Like, we just need to kind of keep coming together. And I know it's all crazy right now, but we're all family.
Totally.
Back when we were growing up, we had like god brothers and god sisters.
Yeah.
And remember all that?
Yep.
And that was just like I remember being like, it was like 1980 something. And like we did that Hands Across America.
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt like I was touching people in Brooklyn.
Right.
Right. And we weren't so divided and separated. I really felt like we were like America. And I think that is the family that we need to kind of get back to,
We see it a lot. And when you travel around the country like we do, shaking hands with Americans, and meeting, we talk to ladies and grandmothers and daughters that own restaurants in small towns. And they share their experiences. We see it, and we feel it. And that's why we can't stop doing this, because we see the good.
You see the effect.
There's way more good. Turn your TVs off, get out and ride, because you're going to meet people and you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
So you think if we were walking in Sturgis and he had his vest on, got off a bike with us, we'd be pretty protected, because people would be thinking he's a badass.
Oh, I'm gonna protect the president.
There you go.
Can you throw that thumbnail up?
They will see it on YouTube. I don't have the file.
All right, because there's two presidents, and I'm actually stepping down, and Bishop's coming in.
Hey, come on now! If there's a spot, I'll take it.
I mean, we don't get political and stuff on this show, but I think the challenges that we have before us, and I think if we don't help our youth, get off of these phones and the way the search engines work today and what they feed each other, is to me is a challenge, because I think you get fed what you look at, and then it's a continuum.
Yeah.
And there's been studies, there's been states, there are people that are doing this now, taking the phones out of the youth in school. And I'm a proponent of that, because I've heard, maybe it's what I'm being fed, but lunchrooms, there's laughter in there now.
Yeah.
There's not, I'm looking at my phone. There's conversations in school, in the classrooms, there's engagement. There's not, my mom's trying to find out where I'm at, or my father. And it's like, and I think we've got to take a turn at some point and just stand up and say, look, the most important thing in this country was you when you were 8, was him when he was 5 playing Army,
For sure.
was me when I was 10, this 25-year-old or 26-year-old when he was 13.
Yeah.
Like, the youth is what drives at the end of the
100%.
day.
100%.
And how do we figure that out? And I'm not talking one side or the other. I'm saying, how do we figure out down the middle?
Yeah.
You're a 14.6 or 13.2 now, or what are you?
What's this? Handicap 13.
Yeah. You work down a little bit.
Hey, I've gone down a
So
little bit, man.
let's stripe one down the fairway.
Let's stripe
and
it.
let's bring
stripe.
everyone in together.
I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of that. I do believe that this tech and this phone is going to be kind of the death of us, as much as it's been supposed to bring us all together and smart. I think we've gotten so far away from God, or the idea of a spirit energy, and we give all this weight and energy and vibration to this thing that makes us feel good or bad, or it's just like it's so crazy. Like, I was just golfing in a tournament, and I didn't get stuck. It was just the gods putting us together. This our threesome canceled, so I was there with this young high school golfer girl, Christian, and she said, my parents don't let me have I don't have social media on my phone. And I said, really? She said, I don't have internet on my phone either. And I was like, whoa. 16 years old. We were talking to each other.
Right.
We were communicating with each other. We played an entire 18 holes together, and I got to know about this young lady, her parents. I would shake their hand immediately for getting this young lady off the phones and off of this idea of what it is, and beauty, and this, and weight, and all the different aspects. I mean, and like, and we've just like, whatever, for $14.99, unlimited. We'll just get everything you can for unlimited. And I take a little pride when I get my little weekly report and says, you're down, you're down, bro. When I see that means I've been living my life. That means I've been out there getting it and having real human connection. I do believe.
We've learned, being on the road and going across the country, people love hearing their story, and then they engage, and everybody has a story.
Everyone.
And they share back with us. So get out, ride a motorcycle. That's
Go ride
great.
a motorcycle. Exactly.
You'll meet some cool people, talk to people, say hi to someone.
Yeah.
But I think, go back to your point, like, for me, there's no way we could have built 2LaneLIVE the way we built it without it.
Hey, listen,
so
it's
there's a bane of the
Right.
existence,
it's a tool.
right? And so, but I'm to the point where it's like, I'm like, it's become this self-preservation thing. Instead of thinking about each other, we think about ourselves, and it's a me society instead of an us society. And I just don't, I think we've got to figure it out some way.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that, especially during the last 4.5 years, where we had to take children and put them in virtual classrooms.
Right.
We do Zoom meetings with people, and it's like, you can't communicate. You're talking over each other. You can't hear. It's like it just has become this dysfunctional, last 4 years have been crazy to me.
Very
And
much
so
so.
how do we get back to that? I want to be in the office and see you and go to lunch with you.
Yeah.
And I think those days are somewhat gone because we've now taken people said you can work remotely. You don't have to have an interaction.
Yeah.
Well, we have the studio here,
Mhm.
and we have people that we bring in with StreamYard because they're in another state or far away or this and that. But when they're in studio, like you are right now,
Yeah.
like Robert was, and I guess that we've had in here, you see the passion, you see the fun, you learn, you bounce off each
So
other.
much better.
It's way better in studio than
It's always better.
Yeah.
I mean, as actors, we've been forced to go on tape. That's what we do now. We just go on tape because of the pandemic. And everyone just, so you're baiting a hook, throw it in the ocean. You have no idea if there's even fish in there, right? And as an actor, I wanted to go in and meet you and talk to you.
right.
And all of a sudden this vibration starts and you're feeling my energy and I'm feeling your energy. And all of a sudden we're laughing or we're talking, or we're saying where you're from or, how you got here. I booked 95% of my jobs because of people
Personal.
that just personal and they wanted to get to know me. And maybe I wasn't the right guy for the job, but when I'm putting myself on tape with 500 other people, like it's so random that it works out. Like, no, I think that is kind of where we're going, but like I right after everything went to shit, I deleted Zoom. I took it off my thing. I don't want Zoom. I don't even really want that to be an option.
How can you portray Sammy Hagar at night?
Exactly.
There's
Like,
no
you know what I mean?
fucking
Like I
way.
don't like that guy's not on Zoom. Bishop doesn't even Bishop is not on Zoom. Okay? Like if we're not
What
doing
is
this in
wrong?
person, it ain't happening. So no, again, I think that's why I get some of these roles because I'm a dinosaur.
I just had a vision in my mind of you guys at the clubhouse, Mayans, all with the screen
Bunch
with
of
like 12 of
laptops.
you.
Oh yeah, everyone's
Good.
face is
Yeah.
glowing.
Hey, so
and,
what do you think?
Cluck, cluck, cluck. Yeah, no, that wasn't gonna work. I need to smell you, be with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. See the realness.
Exactly.
Well, we've had a super good time with you. We've gone an hour and 15.
Have we
Pretty
done
good.
that already?
Yeah, I mean it's
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
so. We are so proud to have you in the studio.
Oh, thank you,
and
boys.
Thank you for
Great.
taking the calls
Yeah.
and showing up. And you didn't have to do this, and we appreciate you taking time out of your day, out of your
100%.
week, out of your schedule, just to stop over to a bunch of guys trying to send some positive vibes through this country. And
Bro, if you guys are trying to bring America together and you guys are trying to make the world a little bit more connected, I don't do a lot of these, like I said, but anything for that. I think we need to kind of just push through this, whatever.
Well, I learned a lot about you. You're a real man. You're a guy that I could see that we could hang out with.
That's it, man.
That's awesome.
well, I learned
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
a professional actor.
Hey, I'm a professional actor. Yeah, that goes into something else. But you're not a professional actor until you kiss another man. That was something that came up on my end with Vinny Rocco, and everyone was trying to jump on Vinny, the biggest, baddest bear in the room, and we were all trying to kiss him at one point to make him a real actor. You're just a real boy, But no, man. I'm a professional actor, professional man. And I like what I do. I love what I do. I love meeting new people and being able to come out and, meet the fans and, share it with America.
JD told us you were a good guy.
Hey, dude.
He's right.
I mean,
I don't think JD said that.
He did.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if JD said that, but no, the Mayans, they're going to be at my funeral or I will be at theirs. That was that kind of show. Like, I know all the boys from the unit. We still all stay in contact. All the boys from the Mayans, we still all stay in contact. That is life. I've had a lot of different jobs. People come and go. But between the unit and the Mayans and some of those little special jobs, I'll know those boys forever.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting
Thank you,
too. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
guys. Thanks for having me.
So everyone, hope you enjoyed this. Go to 2LaneLIVE.com to get all your V-twin parts, accessories, apparel. Lance, what do they need to do?
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Boom.
That's what you need to do.
Boom.
With that, we'll see you
Down the road.
Peace, guys.